The gun was pointed at Isaac Boone's head when he made the choice that would destroy his life. "Step away from them, Boone," Cal Hardin said, his voice cold as the unnatural snow covering the San Pedro Valley. "Step away, or I'll paint your cabin red." Isaac looked at the two Apache women behind him, Nita, fierce and bleeding, and her sister Dasan, barely conscious on the floor. Then he looked back at Hardin and the 5 armed men flanking him. "No," Isaac said. That single word would cost him everything. "But we're getting ahead of ourselves." 3 weeks earlier, Isaac Boone was a dead man walking. Not literally. His heart still beat. His lungs still drew breath. But everything that made him human had died 4 years ago when he buried his wife Mary and 3-year-old daughter Rose on the hill overlooking his ranch. Fever had taken them both within days of each other. Isaac had tried everything: doctors, medicine, prayer. He'd begged God to take him instead. God hadn't listened. After that, Isaac stopped being a husband, stopped being a father, stopped being anything except a ghost going through motions. He worked his ranch alone, spoke to no one unless necessary, and waited for death to remember it had missed him. He'd been a scout once, tracking Apache for the army. He'd seen villages burn, watched children die, done things that still woke him screaming. He'd quit when he realized he was becoming a monster, the kind of man who could watch suffering and feel nothing. Now, riding across his land in snow that had no business being in Arizona territory, Isaac felt that same numbness. The cold had come 3 days ago, sudden and vicious, dropping temperatures 40 degrees overnight. Old-timers said it was a curse. Isaac didn't believe in curses, until he found the bodies. His horse reared, nearly throwing him. There, half buried in a snowdrift, were 2 women. Apache, by their clothing and features. One was maybe late 20s, the other younger. Both were blue-lipped and still. Isaac's hand went to his rifle. Not from fear, from habit. Apache meant trouble. Apache meant questions. Apache meant men like Cal Hardin showing up with ropes and accusations. The smart thing was to ride away. Then the older woman's eyes opened. They locked onto Isaac with such fierce, desperate intensity that he felt it like a physical blow. She tried to speak, but her lips were too frozen. Her hand moved slightly, reaching toward the younger woman beside her. Sister, Isaac realized. She's trying to protect her sister even while dying. Isaac saw his own daughter in that moment. Saw Mary reaching for Rose as the fever took her. Saw every person he'd failed to save. He dismounted. "Can you hear me?" His voice came out rough from disuse. The woman's eyes tracked him, wary despite her condition. Suspicious, smart. Isaac checked the younger woman's pulse. Faint, irregular. She had maybe an hour, maybe less. Frostbite had turned her fingers black at the tips. "I'm taking you somewhere warm," Isaac said. "You can fight me later if you want." The older woman tried to push him away, weak as a kitten, but still fighting. Isaac ignored her protests and lifted the younger woman onto his horse. She was terrifyingly light, her body limp and cold. When he turned back for the older woman, she was trying to stand. She made it halfway before collapsing. "Stubborn won't keep you alive," Isaac muttered, catching her. "Let us die," she whispered in clear English. "Safer for you." "Probably," Isaac agreed. "But I've got enough ghosts already." The 3-mile ride back to his cabin was hell. The wind cut like knives, and both women kept slipping in and out of consciousness. Isaac talked to them constantly. Nonsense mostly, just to keep them aware. "Stay with me, almost there. You don't get to die on my horse. I just cleaned that saddle." When the cabin finally appeared through the snow, Isaac had never moved faster. He kicked the door open, carried them inside one at a time, and worked with desperate efficiency. Fire, blankets, hot water, warm broth. He'd done this before, 4 years ago, trying to save Mary and Rose. He'd failed then. The younger woman, Dasan, he'd learn later, wasn't breathing right. Her lips were turning purple. Isaac tilted her head back, checked her airway, started rubbing her hands and feet to get blood flowing. "Come on," he whispered. "Don't you dare! Don't you dare do this!" He heated broth, forced small amounts between her lips. Most spilled, but some went down. Her chest rose and fell, shallow but steady. The older woman, Nita, was more alert now, watching him with sharp, calculating eyes. "Why?" she asked hoarsely. Isaac didn't answer. He didn't have an answer that made sense. By dawn, Dasan was breathing easier but hadn't woken. Nita sat against the wall, wrapped in every blanket Isaac owned, her eyes never leaving him. Isaac made coffee, the smell filling the cabin. His hands shook from exhaustion. "You were a scout," Nita said. Not a question. Isaac's hand stilled. "How'd you know?" "The way you move, the way you checked the perimeter before bringing us inside, the way you looked at us when you found us, like you were deciding whether we were human or targets." Her voice was steady despite her condition. "You have hunted my people." Isaac set down the coffee pot carefully. "Yeah, I did. Long time ago." "How many did you kill?" The question hit like a fist. Isaac met her eyes. "I don't know. I stopped counting. And now you save us. Why?" "Guilt." "Maybe. Guilt is a selfish reason. Guilty men do good things to feel better about themselves. When the guilt fades, so does the goodness." Nita's gaze was hard. "So I ask again, why?" Isaac poured 2 cups of coffee, set one within her reach. "Because I'm tired of death. Because I've caused enough of it. Because when I looked at you dying in that snow, I saw my daughter's face. And I couldn't—" His voice broke. "I couldn't walk away." Something shifted in Nita's expression. Not trust, but maybe the beginning of understanding. "Your daughter is dead?" 4 years ago. Fever, her and my wife both." Isaac's hands clenched around his cup. "I tried everything. Wasn't enough." "And you have been alone since then?" "Yeah. Waiting to die." Isaac looked up sharply. Nita's eyes were knowing, sad. "I recognize it," she said quietly. "I see it in the mirror every day. That look of someone who survived when they should not have, when they did not want to. What happened to you?" Nita was quiet for a long moment. "Everything. My parents were killed by soldiers when I was 12. My husband was hanged for stealing a horse he did not steal. My son died of the sickness on the reservation, the sickness your people brought." Her voice was flat, emotionless. "Dasan is all I have left. She is 19. She is good and bright, and deserves a life I cannot give her. You've kept her alive this long." "Alive is not the same as living." Nita accepted the coffee, wrapping her damaged hands around it. "We escaped the reservation 3 weeks ago. They were starving us, slowly, calling it peace while we died by inches." "Where were you headed?" "North, to the mountains. We have family there if they still live, if they have not been moved or killed or broken." Nita's jaw tightened. "We were 2 days from the foothills when the cold came." "This cold, it is not natural." "No," Isaac agreed. "It's not. Dasan said it was a warning. That we had angered the spirits by running." Nita's voice dropped. "I told her spirits do not exist. Only survival. Only the next day and the day after that." Isaac understood that. He'd stopped believing in God the day he buried Rose. They sat in silence as the fire crackled and Dasan slept. Outside, the wind howled like something alive and angry. "We will leave as soon as Dasan can walk," Nita said finally. "We have already brought you too much danger." "What danger?" Nita's eyes slid away. "The kind that follows women like us." "That's not an answer. It is the only answer you will get. For your own safety." Isaac felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. "What are you running from? Besides the reservation?" "I told you." "You told me part of it, not all of it." Isaac leaned forward. "If I'm risking my neck hiding you, I deserve to know what I'm risking it for." Nita stared at him for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "There is a man, a white trader named Garrett. He came to the reservation 6 months ago, offering goods, flour, blankets, medicine, things we desperately needed." Her hands tightened on the cup. "He saw Dasan. He decided he wanted her." Isaac's stomach turned. "Wanted her how? How do you think?" Nita's voice was sharp as broken glass. "He offered to buy her, as if she were a horse. When I refused, he went to the Indian agent, offered him money. The agent said no, even he had limits. So Garrett waited." "What happened?" "He came to our shelter one night. He had 2 men with him. They tried to take Dasan by force." Nita's eyes went distant, remembering. "I fought them. I had a knife. I cut one man badly." "Very badly. He was screaming, bleeding everywhere. The other man ran. Garrett ran. We ran. Did the man die? I do not know. I hope so." Nita's voice was cold. "He deserved to die." Isaac sat back, processing. "So you're not just running from the reservation, you're running from a murder charge." "Self-defense. The law won't see it that way. Not for an Apache woman." I know. Nita's eyes met his. That is why we must leave. If Garrett finds us, he will not come alone, and he will not stop until Dasan is his or we are dead. Probably both. Isaac's mind raced. This was worse than he'd thought. Much worse. How long do you think before he finds you? I do not know. We covered our tracks well, but Garrett is not stupid and he has money. He will hire trackers. Good ones. Nita's voice was steady, but Isaac heard the fear beneath it. We have a week, maybe 2, before he picks up our trail. Less if someone in town talks. No one knows you're here. Yet. But they will suspect. You live alone. Suddenly your chimney smokes day and night. Someone will notice. Someone will ask questions. Nita set down her cup. We should leave tomorrow. Dasan can't travel tomorrow. She'll die. Then the next day. She needs a week, minimum. We do not have a week. Then we make time. Isaac's voice was firm. I'll handle anyone who comes asking questions. You cannot. I can and I will. Isaac stood. You saved your sister from that bastard. Now let me help you save her from this cold. After that you can leave or stay, your choice. But right now, you're both too weak to survive out there. Nita stared at him, conflict warring in her eyes. Finally, she nodded. 1 week. Then we go. 1 week, Isaac agreed. But even as he said it, he knew a week wouldn't be enough. For any of them. Dasan woke on the second day, her eyes bright with fever. She looked around in confusion, then fear. Then saw Nita and relaxed. Shima? She whispered. Sister. Nita was at her side instantly, speaking rapid Apache, soothing and reassuring. Dasan's eyes found Isaac, and he saw the question there. He saved us, Nita said in English. He is helping us? Why? Dasan's English was accented but clear. Good question, Isaac thought. Because I could. Dasan studied him with unsettling intensity for someone so young. You are sad, she said finally. Very sad. Like Nita, like me. Isaac blinked. I'm not. You are. I can see it. Like a shadow you wear. Dasan's voice was gentle. What made you so sad? Dasan, Nita said sharply. That is not. My wife and daughter died, Isaac said. 4 years ago. Dasan's face crumpled with sympathy. That is terrible. I am so sorry. Yeah, me too. Is that why you live alone? Because you are afraid to love again? The question was so direct, so painfully accurate, that Isaac couldn't speak for a moment. Maybe, he said finally. That is very sad, Dasan said. Love is the only thing worth living for. Without it, we are just waiting. Dasan, enough, Nita said, but her voice was soft. Isaac looked at this 19-year-old girl who'd survived things that should have broken her, who'd nearly died in the snow, who was wanted by a man who saw her as property, and she was lecturing him about love. You're a wise kid, he said. I am not a kid, but Dasan smiled. And you are not as alone as you think. Over the next few days, Dasan recovered with startling speed. She had a curiosity that couldn't be contained, asking questions about everything, his horses, his tools, why he had so many books, why he never smiled. I smile, Isaac protested. No, you make a shape with your mouth that looks like a smile. It is not the same, Dasan demonstrated, pulling her lips into a grimace. See, that is what you do. Despite himself, Isaac laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was so unexpected that both women stared at him. There, Dasan said triumphantly. That is better. Nita watched the exchange with something like wonder in her eyes. That night, after Dasan had fallen asleep, Nita spoke quietly. She likes you. She's a good kid. She is not a child. She has seen and survived things that would break most men. Nita's voice was fierce. Do not mistake her kindness for innocence. She is kind because she chooses to be, despite everything. I know, Isaac said. I can see it. Nita relaxed slightly. Good, because she is the best of us, the best of what our people were before... She trailed off. Before we destroyed it, Isaac finished quietly. Yes. They sat in heavy silence. Finally, Isaac spoke. I'm sorry. For what I did. For what my people did. I know it doesn't change anything, but... No, it does not change anything. Nita's voice was hard. But it is something. Most white men do not apologize. Most do not even see us as human enough to apologize to. I see you, Isaac said. I see both of you. Nita looked at him. Really looked at him. And Isaac felt something pass between them. recognition, understanding, the knowledge that they were both survivors of losses that should have destroyed them. "I see you too," Nita said softly. On the 5th day, Isaac rode into town for supplies. He needed to maintain appearances, needed to show his face. The general store was crowded, and Isaac felt eyes on him the moment he walked in. Cal Hardin was there, along with Sheriff Wilkes and 2 other ranchers. Hardin was a bitter man who'd lost cattle to raids and blamed every Apache in the territory. He'd also lost his son to fever the same year Isaac lost his family. But instead of grief, Hardin had chosen rage. "Boone," Hardin said, stepping into his path. "Heard you've been keeping odd hours." "That so?" Isaac kept his voice neutral. "Tom Ridley says he saw smoke from your chimney all night, 3 nights running. Says he rode by yesterday morning, heard voices, women's voices." Hardin's eyes were hard. "You got company out there?" Isaac's pulse quickened, but his face stayed calm. "Just me and the wind." "Wind doesn't sound like women talking." "Then maybe Tom's hearing things. He is getting on in years." One of the other ranchers, Pete Dawson, spoke up. "My boy says he saw tracks near your property. Moccasin tracks, fresh ones." Isaac shrugged. "Could be from anyone. Lots of Apache pass through." "Not anymore, they don't," Hardin said. "Not since the reservation. So if there are Apache tracks near your place, that means someone's off the reservation. Someone's running." He moved closer. "You hiding someone?" "Boone? No." "You sure about that?" "I'm sure I don't appreciate the interrogation." Isaac picked up his supplies. "Now, if you'll excuse me—" Hardin grabbed his arm. "I'm not done talking to you." Isaac looked down at Hardin's hand, then up at his face. "Let go! Or what? Or I'll make you." Sheriff Wilkes stepped between them. "That's enough, both of you." He looked at Isaac. "Cal's got a point, though, Isaac. There's been reports of Apache sign in the area. 2 women, people are saying, escaped from the reservation. If you know something—" "I don't." "Then you need to tell me," Wilkes continued, "for your own safety. These women are wanted for questioning in connection with an assault, maybe murder. Man named Billy Garrett, worked for a trader, got cut up bad 6 weeks ago, nearly died." Isaac's blood ran cold. So the man Nita had stabbed had survived, and they were looking for her. "Don't know anything about that," Isaac said. Wilkes studied him. "You're a bad liar, Isaac. Always have been." "I'm not lying." "Then you won't mind if I ride out to your place, just to check, make sure everything's all right." Isaac's mind raced. If Wilkes came out, he'd find Nita and Dasan, and if he found them, he'd have to arrest them. Wilkes was a decent man, but he was also a lawman. He'd do his job. "I'd mind plenty," Isaac said. "I value my privacy." "Privacy's one thing. Harboring fugitives is another." "I'm not harboring anyone." Hardin laughed bitterly. "He's lying through his teeth, Sheriff. Let's ride out there right now, see what we find." "No," Wilkes said. "Not without cause. Isaac's got a right to privacy on his own land." He looked at Isaac. "But if I get one more report, one more piece of evidence, I'm coming out there, with or without your permission. Understand?" "Understood," Isaac said. He left the store quickly, feeling eyes on his back. As he mounted his horse, he heard Hardin's voice carry through the door. "He's hiding them. I know it. And when we prove it, he'll hang right alongside them." Isaac rode hard back to the cabin, his mind racing. They were out of time. Wilkes would come, probably within days. And when he did, Isaac burst through the cabin door. Nita was on her feet instantly, knife in hand. "We have to go," Isaac said. "Now, they know." Nita's face went pale. "How?" "Tracks, smoke, voices. Someone saw or heard something." Isaac started gathering supplies. "They're coming. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But they're coming." "Then we leave immediately." Nita turned to Dasan. "Get dressed, warm clothes. We are leaving." "Wait," Isaac said. "You can't. Not yet. Dasan's still too weak." "We have no choice." "There's always a choice." Isaac's mind was working frantically. "We just need to buy time. A few more days for Dasan to get stronger." "How?" Nita demanded. "They are coming. Then we give them what they expect to find. Nothing." Isaac looked at Nita. "There's a cave system about 2 miles north. Old mining tunnels. No one uses them anymore. You and Dasan hide there. I'll stay here, act normal. When they come and find nothing, they'll leave." "And if they search the caves?" "They won't. They're unstable, half collapsed. No one goes in there." Isaac grabbed a pack, started filling it with food and blankets. You can stay hidden for a few days. By then, Dasan will be strong enough to travel for real. You can head north to your family." Nita stared at him. "You would do this? Risk everything?" "I'm already risking everything. Might as well see it through." "Isaac!" Nita's voice broke. "If they find out you helped us, they will arrest you, maybe hang you. Then I'll be careful. This is not a joke." "I know it's not." Isaac's voice rose. "But what's the alternative? Let you run now and watch Dasan die in the snow? Let them catch you and watch you hang? I can't." He stopped, breathing hard. "I can't lose anyone else. I can't." Nita's eyes filled with tears. "You barely know us. Doesn't matter. You're here, you're alive, and I'm going to keep you that way." Dasan spoke up from the corner, her voice quiet. "Why do you care so much?" Isaac looked at her, this bright, brave girl who reminded him so much of Rose. "Because for the first time in 4 years, I have a reason to care, and I'm not giving that up without a fight." They moved quickly. Isaac led them to the caves, helped them set up a camp deep inside where no light from outside could reach. He left them with food, water, blankets, and his spare rifle. 3 days, he said. 4 at most. Then you run north and don't look back." Nita grabbed his arm. "Isaac, thank you for everything, for—" She stopped, struggling with words. "For seeing us, for treating us like people, like we matter." "You do matter," Isaac said. "More than you know." On impulse, Nita pulled him into a brief, fierce hug. Isaac stood frozen for a moment, then hugged her back. It was the first time he'd held another person in 4 years. When they pulled apart, both had tears in their eyes. "Be safe," Nita whispered. "You too." Isaac rode back to his cabin and waited. They came the next morning. 6 riders, Sheriff Wilkes, Cal Hardin, Pete Dawson, and 3 others Isaac recognized from town. They rode up slowly, deliberately, making sure Isaac saw them coming. Isaac stepped out onto his porch, coffee cup in hand, the picture of casual unconcern. "Morning, Sheriff," he called. "What brings you out this way?" Wilkes dismounted. "Need to ask you some questions, Isaac." "Ask away." "Mind if we look around?" Isaac's jaw tightened. "Yeah, I mind, but I'm guessing you're going to anyway. We have reports of Apache women in the area, last seen heading toward your property." Wilkes' voice was apologetic but firm. "I need to make sure they're not here." "They're not." "Then you won't mind us checking." Isaac stepped aside. "Help yourself." The men searched the cabin thoroughly. They checked the root cellar, the barn, the outbuildings. They found nothing. Hardin wasn't satisfied. "Where are they, Boone?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "The hell you don't. Tom's boy saw them, 2 women Apache near your property." "Then maybe they passed through. I didn't see anyone." Hardin got in Isaac's face. "You're lying. I can smell it on you." "Back off, Cal," Wilkes said. "We searched. There's no one here." "Then where are they?" "Not here. That's all that matters." Wilkes turned to Isaac. "If you do see them, you need to report it immediately. They're wanted for questioning in a serious crime." "What crime?" Isaac asked, though he knew. "Assault with a deadly weapon. Maybe murder. Man named Billy Garrett nearly died from a knife wound. Says 2 Apache women attacked him without provocation." "Without provocation," Isaac repeated flatly. "That what he says?" "That's what he says." "And you believe him?" Wilkes hesitated. "I believe the evidence. Man was cut up bad. Nearly bled out. That's attempted murder in my book. Or self-defense. That's for a court to decide. Not you, not me." Wilkes mounted his horse. "If you see them, Isaac, you report it. That's the law. And if the law's wrong, then it's still the law." The men rode away, leaving Isaac standing on his porch, his heart pounding. They'd bought it, for now. But Hardin looked back once, his eyes full of suspicion and promise. "This isn't over," that look said. Isaac knew he was right. That night, Isaac rode out to the caves. Nita and Dasan were huddled by a small fire, deep in the tunnels where the smoke would dissipate before reaching the surface. "They came," Isaac said. "They searched. They found nothing." Nita's shoulders sagged with relief. "Thank God." "Don't thank him yet. Hardin doesn't believe it. He'll be watching me. Watching the property." Isaac sat down heavily. "You need to leave soon. Tomorrow night, maybe, while you still can." "Dasan is not ready." "She'll have to be. It's not safe anymore." Dasan spoke up, her voice stronger than it had been. "I can travel. I am ready." "You are not," Nita said sharply. "I am ready enough. Isaac is right. We must go before we bring more danger to him." Nita looked between them, conflict clear on her face. Finally, she nodded. Tomorrow night. We leave tomorrow night. Isaac felt something twist in his chest. He'd known they would leave eventually, but now that the moment was here, he realized he didn't want them to go. I'll get you supplies, he said. Food, blankets, ammunition. Enough to get you to the mountains. Isaac, Nita started. It's fine. I want to help. That is not what I was going to say. Nita moved closer. I was going to say, thank you for everything, for saving us, for protecting us, for... Her voice dropped. For making me remember what it feels like to be human, to be seen. Isaac's throat tightened. You did the same for me. They sat in silence, the fire crackling between them. Dasan watched them with knowing eyes. You love her, Dasan said suddenly to Isaac. Dasan, Nita's face flushed. It is true. I can see it. And you love him too, sister. Do not deny it. Nita opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked at Isaac, and he saw the truth in her eyes. Yeah, Isaac said quietly. I do. Isaac, I know you have to go. I know this can't work. I know all the reasons why. Isaac's voice was rough. But that doesn't change how I feel. Nita's eyes filled with tears. I feel it too, but we cannot. There is no future for us. You know this. I know. Then why say it? Because I'm tired of not saying things. I didn't tell Mary I loved her enough before she died. I'm not making that mistake again. Nita moved to him, took his face in her hands. I love you, Isaac Boone. I love your sadness and your strength and your stubborn refusal to let us die. I love that you see me as a person, not a savage or a victim. I love... Her voice broke. I love you. And I hate that I must leave you. Isaac kissed her then, desperate and tender, and full of everything he couldn't say. Nita kissed him back, and for a moment, the world narrowed to just the two of them. When they pulled apart, both were crying. Tomorrow night, Nita whispered. We will leave tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Isaac agreed. But fate had other plans. Isaac was in the barn the next morning when he heard the horses. Multiple riders, coming fast. He stepped outside and felt his blood turn to ice. 7 men this time. Hardin in the lead, but no Sheriff Wilkes. And riding beside Hardin was a man Isaac didn't recognize. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a scar running down his left cheek. Garrett. Boone, Hardin called. We need to talk. Isaac walked forward slowly, his mind racing. About what? About the 2 Apache whores you're hiding. Garrett's voice was cold. I know they're here. I can feel it. Don't know what you're talking about. The hell you don't! Garrett dismounted. Those bitches cut up my friend Billy, nearly killed him. They're wanted for attempted murder, and I'm here to collect the bounty. There's no bounty. There is now. $500 each. Garrett smiled. So where are they? Not here. Then you won't mind if we search again. Sheriff already searched, found nothing. Sheriff's not here now. Hardin's hand went to his gun. And we're not asking permission. The men spread out, moving toward the cabin, the barn, the outbuildings. Isaac's heart pounded. They wouldn't find anything here. But if they expanded the search, if they checked the caves... Wait, Isaac said. Just wait. Garrett turned back, smiling. You ready to talk? Isaac's mind raced. He could lie, but they wouldn't believe him. He could fight, but he was outnumbered 7-1. He could run, but that would just confirm their suspicions. Or he could tell the truth. They were here, Isaac said slowly. A few weeks ago. I found them half dead in the snow. I brought them in, warmed them up, sent them on their way. When? Garrett demanded. Week ago, maybe more. Where'd they go? North, toward the mountains. Said they had family there. Garrett studied him. You're lying. I'm not. Then why didn't you report it? Why didn't you tell the sheriff? Because I didn't see the point. They were just 2 women trying to survive. They're criminals. They're people. Isaac's voice hardened. And from what I hear, they had good reason to cut your friend. He tried to take the younger one by force. That's not a crime. That's self-defense. Garrett's face went dark with rage. Billy was conducting legitimate business. Billy was trying to buy a human being, and when that didn't work, he tried to take her anyway. Isaac stepped forward. So yeah, I helped them, and I'd do it again. Hardin drew his gun. That's confession of aiding and abetting fugitives. You're under arrest, Boone. On whose authority? You're not the law. I am today. Hardin cocked the hammer. Now, you're going to tell us where those women are, or I'm going to shoot you and search this property until I find them myself. Isaac's hand moved toward his own gun. Don't, Garrett said. You draw, you die. Simple as that. Isaac froze. 7 guns against 1. He couldn't win this. But he could buy time. They're gone, Isaac said. Long gone. You'll never find them. We'll see about that. Hardin nodded to his men. Spread out. Search everything. The house, the barn, the land. If they're here, find them. The men moved out. Isaac stood helpless, watching them search. His mind raced. The caves were 2 miles north. If the men searched in that direction, a shout came from near the tree line. Got tracks here. Fresh ones, heading north. Isaac's heart stopped. Garrett smiled. Well, well, looks like they're not so far after all. He mounted his horse. Come on, boys, let's go hunting. No! Isaac lunged forward. Hardin hit him with the butt of his rifle. Isaac went down hard, tasting blood. Stay down, Boone, Hardin said, or the next one goes through your skull. Isaac watched helplessly as the 7 men rode north, toward the caves, toward Nita and Dasan. He had to warn them. Isaac struggled to his feet, his head spinning. He stumbled to the barn, saddled his horse with shaking hands, and rode north as fast as he dared. He reached the caves 10 minutes behind the men. He could hear voices echoing from inside, shouts, and the sound of boots on stone. Isaac dismounted and ran into the tunnels. The scene he found would haunt him forever. Nita and Dasan were backed against the far wall of the cave, Nita's rifle raised, Dasan behind her. The 7 men had them surrounded, guns drawn. Drop it, Garrett was saying. Drop the rifle or we shoot. You will have to shoot me, Nita said, her voice steady. Because I will not let you take her. Your choice. Garrett raised his gun. No, Isaac shouted, running forward. Everyone turned. In that moment of distraction, Nita fired. The shot went wide, hitting the cave wall. Rock exploded, and suddenly the tunnel was full of dust and falling stone. Cave in, someone shouted. Men scrambled for the exit. Isaac grabbed Nita and Dasan, pulling them toward a side tunnel he'd noticed earlier. They ran as the main chamber collapsed behind them, the sound deafening. When the dust settled, they were in a narrow passage, alone. The way back was blocked by tons of fallen rock. Is there another way out? Nita gasped. I don't know, Isaac said. Maybe. We need to keep moving. They ran deeper into the tunnels, the darkness closing in. Behind them, they could hear muffled shouts, the sound of men digging. The passage twisted and turned, getting narrower. Isaac's torch was burning low. They had maybe 10 minutes of light left. There, Dasan pointed. Ahead, a faint glow. Daylight. They ran toward it, squeezing through a crack in the rock that opened onto a steep hillside. They were on the north side of the ridge, hidden from view of the main cave entrance. We have to run, Nita said. Now, before they dig through. Where? Isaac asked. They'll track us. Then we split up. You go back to your cabin. We go north. They cannot chase both. No, we stay together. Isaac, I said no. Isaac's voice was fierce. I'm not losing you, either of you. We run together or we don't run at all. Nita stared at him. Then she nodded. Together. They ran. For 3 days, they moved through the wilderness, staying off trails, covering their tracks. Isaac used every skill he'd learned as a scout. Nita used every skill she'd learned surviving. They were exhausted, hungry, and running out of options. On the 4th day, they heard horses behind them. They're close, Nita whispered. Too close. There's a canyon up ahead, Isaac said. Narrow entrance. We can defend it. Or be trapped in it. You have a better idea. Nita didn't. They made it to the canyon and took positions behind rocks. Isaac had his rifle, Nita had hers. Dasan had Isaac's pistol. The riders appeared. Garrett, Hardin, and 3 others. The rest had apparently given up or been injured in the cave-in. Boone, Hardin called. Give them up. This is your last chance. Go to hell, Isaac shouted back. You're throwing your life away for savages. I'm standing up for what's right. Something you forgot how to do. Garrett spoke up. The girl's mine, Boone. I paid for her fair and square. You can't buy a person, Dasan shouted, her voice ringing through the canyon. I am not property. I am not yours. You're whatever I say you are. No, Nita said, standing up. She is my sister. She is a human being, and you will never touch her again. Garrett raised his gun. Last chance. Come out or we come in shooting. Isaac stood beside Nita. Then come in shooting, because we're not moving. For a moment, everything was still. Then Garrett fired. The bullet hit the rock next to Isaac's head, spraying stone fragments. Isaac fired back, his shot hitting Garrett's horse. The animal screamed and reared, throwing Garrett to the ground. Chaos erupted, guns fired from both sides. Isaac felt a bullet graze his arm, hot and sharp. Nita fired methodically, each shot carefully aimed. Dasan fired wildly, but with determination. One of Hardin's men went down, clutching his leg. Another's horse bolted, carrying him away from the fight. Then Isaac heard a sound that made his blood run cold. More horses, coming from behind them. They were surrounded. Isaac turned, ready to face the new threat, and stopped. Sheriff Wilkes rode into the canyon, 6 deputies behind him. All had their guns drawn. "Everyone stop firing!" Wilkes shouted. "Now!" The shooting stopped. Silence fell, broken only by heavy breathing and the sound of wounded men groaning. Wilkes looked at the scene. Isaac, Nita, and Dasan behind the rocks. Garrett and Hardin's men spread out in front. One man wounded, another's horse gone. "What the hell is going on here?" Wilkes demanded. "They're harboring fugitives," Hardin said. "We were trying to bring them in. By shooting them, they fired first." "That's a lie," Isaac shouted. "Garrett fired first. We were defending ourselves." Wilkes looked at Garrett. "That true?" "They're criminals. They tried to kill Billy." "Billy Garrett, your brother." Wilkes's voice was flat. "Funny how you forgot to mention that when you came to me asking for help." Garrett's face went pale. "I did some checking," Wilkes continued. "Talked to some people on the reservation. Heard some interesting stories about you and Billy, about how you two have been trafficking in Apache women for years. Buying them, selling them, trading them like livestock." "That's a lie." "Is it? Because I've got 3 witnesses who say otherwise, including the Indian agent, who's been looking the other way for a cut of the profits." Wilkes' voice was hard. "You're under arrest, Garrett. You and your brother both. Trafficking, attempted kidnapping, assault. You can't." "I can and I am." Wilkes nodded to his deputies. "Take him." 2 deputies moved forward, grabbing Garrett. He struggled, shouting obscenities, but they dragged him away. Wilkes turned to Hardin. "And you, Cal, what the hell were you thinking?" "I was trying to help," Hardin protested. "They're fugitives." "They're victims. There's a difference." Wilkes shook his head. "Go home, Cal, before I arrest you too for attempted murder." Hardin stared at him, then at Isaac. "This isn't over, Boone." "Yeah," Isaac said tiredly. "It is." Hardin and his remaining men rode away, leaving Isaac, Nita, and Dasan alone with the sheriff. Wilkes dismounted, walked over to them. "You 3 all right?" "We're alive," Isaac said. "Good." Wilkes looked at Nita and Dasan. "I owe you an apology. I should have looked deeper into Garrett's story. Should have questioned why he was so eager to find you." "You are looking now," Nita said. "That is what matters." "What happens to us?" Dasan asked quietly. "Do we go back to the reservation?" Wilkes was quiet for a long moment. "Officially, yes. That's the law." "And unofficially?" Isaac asked. "Unofficially." Wilkes looked at the canyon, at the wilderness beyond. "I'm a long way from town, and my eyesight's not what it used to be. If 2 Apache women were to slip away while I was distracted, well, I might not notice for a while." Hope flared in Isaac's chest. "How long's a while?" "Long enough for them to get wherever they're going. Long enough for me to file a report saying they escaped during the confrontation." Wilkes met Isaac's eyes. "Long enough for a man to decide if he wants to go with them." Isaac looked at Nita. She looked back, question and hope in her eyes. "I'm going," Isaac said, "if you'll have me." "Always," Nita whispered. Wilkes nodded. "Then you'd better get moving. I'll give you a day's head start before I report this." "Thank you," Isaac said, "for everything." "Don't thank me. Just live good lives, all 3 of you. That's thanks enough." Wilkes mounted his horse. "And Boone? For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing." "So do I," Isaac said. Wilkes rode away, his deputies following. Isaac, Nita, and Dasan stood in the canyon, battered and exhausted and free. "Where do we go?" Dasan asked. "North," Nita said. "To the mountains. To family." "Together," Isaac added. "Together," Nita agreed. They walked out of the canyon side by side, 3 people who'd found each other in the cold and chosen to stay in the warmth. The journey ahead would be hard. There would be more challenges, more dangers, more people who wouldn't accept them, but they would face it together. And that made all the difference. 6 months later, in a small Apache camp high in the mountains, Isaac Boone stood beside Nita as an elder blessed their union in the traditional way. Dasan stood beside them, smiling through tears. They'd made it. Against all odds, through all dangers, they'd made it. Isaac had lost everything once. His wife, his daughter, his old life. He'd thought he'd never love again, never feel whole again. But standing there, with Nita's hand in his and Dasan's laughter in his ears, Isaac understood something profound. Love wasn't about replacing what you'd lost. It was about having the courage to open your heart again, even when it had been shattered. It was about choosing connection over safety, choosing to stay when leaving would be easier. It was about finding family in unexpected places and fighting like hell to keep them. The cold had brought them together, but it was love. Fierce, hard-earned, unbreakable love that would keep them that way. And as the sun set over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and red, Isaac Boone was no longer alone. He was home.